So let's do some myth busting, okay? So what I'm gonna try to focus on are not just like really low hanging fruits, although there will be a couple of those at the end, but I want to talk about 3 specific big myths that I see discussed in the Overwatch, even the educational sphere a lot. Some of these things I haven't talked about as in depth as I'd like. It's like to go into those things. And then at the end, I will have a couple of little minor ones that are focused more on hero specific. So we're going to address these myths head on, what is said by the general community, whether that's in game or out of game. Then we're going to talk about not just this is bad, don't do that, but I'm going to give you guys, okay, this is why it's wrong. This is what you should be doing instead, and hopefully give you guys some demonstrations or at least some thinking exercises to help you make your decisions. Now, as always, whenever I do stuff like this, part of it's fun because it's discussion, but there should be some sort of actionable feedback for each of basically all of these points actually. And I'll give you some guidance on how I would improve all those things. As always, I don't recommend trying to implement all of these things. Pick the one that's the most interesting and the most relevant to what you're playing or what you're trying to improve on and knock yourself out. So we're going to start off with myth number 1. Myth number 1 is that there is flicking and then there is tracking aim. Now this is we'll say a partial myth. It's certainly in the way that it's implemented. And what I mean by that is that there is very much some truth to it, but how it's implemented by a lot of players that I've coached over the years is really bad. And let me demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about here. When we talk about tracking, and we talk about an aim style on console or PC that involves keeping my crosshair on the target's head, and as they move, I move. You see this a lot with soldiers and tracers and Zaryas. Anything that is rapid output of damage, you should track more. But instances of damage, you should hold your crosshair and flick, right? That's the difference between tracking and flicking. If you guys have seen that, tried that, implemented that, that is a myth. Let me explain why. Instances of damage are damage instances that have a higher priority. In other words, when I'm doing Widowmaker, I only have occasional instances. You guys didn't see that. Occasional instances where my damage matters a lot, and then other instances where my crosshair placement doesn't matter that much at all, right? That's false. Because the important thing with flicking that a lot of people get wrong is that flicking is a last second adjustment that should be as small as you possibly can. This is something I've been teaching for years for Grandmaster DPS players. What that means is if I'm keeping my crosshair still and my target's here, and I'm purposefully flicking away even after the shot. If you guys ever seen this, maybe not to that level, but here, that is making your flick, that quick burst of adjustment prior to the shot, unnaturally large. And the larger the flick, the more inaccurate the flick, the more likely you are to miss it. It's the equivalent of like if you're playing basketball, free throw versus a three-pointer versus a midpoint versus a full court shot. If you miss a full court shot, you don't go, I suck at basketball. You say, no, why am I shooting from the full court? Let me get closer. Therefore, I'm more likely to be more accurate because there's a smaller, a larger margin of error, right? So you think about this and you're like, okay, what about all the pro players? You know, are they just crazy at making these flicks? You know, or well, this is where we're going to take a look. You don't have to even take my word at it. We're going to take a look at probably the best raw aimer that we've had in Overwatch League over the history of his career. Ons is a good shot, but we're going to take a look at Lip. And we're going to look at Lip's Widowmaker. Now, Widowmaker requires last second adjustments because where you track, you might not always have the opportunity to track a target prior to clicking on it. It might be a quick adjustment. Right? But you're going to notice 2 things. You're going to notice that whenever Lip can, he's going to try to track prior to the flick. So he gets his crosshair close to the target before making that last second adjustment before he clicks. And the second thing you'll notice is that his crosshair placement, in other words, where he places the crosshair, even when there's nobody there, is such that he's trying to shrink the distance between flicks as much as he possibly can, even when he doesn't need to see anything. So check this out. So we'll mute the audio here. Look at his crosshair placement. It's an assumption that there's something there. He sees something there. So there's very little crosshair needed. Very little crosshair movement needed. Look at this. Look at his tracking here. He thinks that somebody's there. Crosshair placement. Now watch. I'll slow this down. See that? Little bit of track flick. Little bit of track flick. That flick is that last second prediction of I'm going to tell my brain to click, but I'm going to try to predict where that movement's going to go for that last little second of an adjustment. Look at the crosshair placement. No flick needed. It's just there. So he's not going to even flick if he doesn't need to. If the target's right there, why flick? Look at the crosshair placement. Look at how small this flick has to be. Right there. No flick necessary. It's already there. This is a great example right here. I want you guys to watch this. Look at when he takes the shot here. So he's obviously under a lot of threat. He's 175 HP. There's a Sombra in his backline. He needs help. Look at his crosshair. He's in the middle of a jump. He waits till he finishes the jump. He moves his crosshair towards the target so that the flick that he makes, he doesn't keep his crosshair still and then flick. He tracks, then flicks. Right there. And in fact, he makes his flick once he sees the target moving predictably. He follows the target, and then when it's time to make the flick, he probably should have shot there. He tries to. He actually misses it there. Let's see if we can find some stuff here. What would be a good one here? See, look, this is great right here. So there's a little bit of a flick here, and you're like, why do we see this flick? Look carefully. So he has his crosshair at head height, and he goes, oh no, Juno's up there. So I flick to do the Juno. But then he goes, okay, well, no, I'm going to shoot that over there. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to shoot anything over there. Because he thinks, okay, there's somebody there, there's Cassidy. And goes, okay, no Cassidy. So now look at his crosshair. We go back to tracking. You see that? Then we go back to the Orisa here. Do you notice that? So he's only making those last second snaps when his crosshair placement was wrong, when he needs to make that quick adjustment. But other than that, you're just going to keep the crosshair on the target. Genji on close range is extremely flick-oriented. Kind of. If you dash at a target and 180 melee because you need to kill that target quickly, that's a flick. But really, when you're tracking, double jumping over a target and there's no immediate rush on the kill, if you're flicking with Genji, you're probably missing mode. In fact, the difference between high-level Genji and mid-level Genji is mid-level Genji sees speed and they go jerky, whap, 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 over flicking, right? You watch high-level Genji, they will occasionally do a quick adjustment like a 180 if they need to, but if you've ever watched high-level Genji aim, it's way smoother than diamond level Genji. Diamond level Genji sees speed and they replicate the speed, but not the smoothness and the control, right? They go slow as smooth as fast, right? Mid-level Genji tries to replicate that by just duplicating the speed, but without the control. And so what you need to do is, and this is really gonna be my point here for any character, Ana, Zen, Genji, whatever, what you need to do with this is deliberately aim your shot, slow things down. Don't force yourself to, if you ever find yourself resetting your crosshair, right? Doing this nonsense, you need to break that. If you ever find yourself having moving targets on your screen and yet you don't react to their movement, you'll see it, stuff like this, right? We'll do this. Don't do this. You'd be surprised when people do this. And the other thing is, going back to that Genji example, which was a great one, right? Is don't aim like this. I have a really bad habit of doing this. From my old... They like throw their mouse. You'll see this all the time. Don't do this. Smooth. So, actionable feedback. Slow down your shots in every character. Be deliberate with keeping your crosshair as close as possible to the target, whether you're flicking or whether you're tracking. Myth number 2. When self-VOD reviewing, you should prioritize on VOD reviewing your deaths. How many of you guys have heard that myth, especially in the educational community? Look at your deaths. Look, what could you have done better? How could you have not died there? You need to play your life. You know, what could you have done better? VOD review your deaths. You know, that's a good starter thing. Okay, don't VOD review your deaths. I'll explain to you why that's a mistake, and then alternatively, I'll give you an alternative, a much better alternative. So let's take a look here. Let's look at my deaths here. We're gonna bookmark the death. Death at 3:30. What do you guys think? Oh, this is a perfect one. Actually, this is hilarious because this, okay, no spoilers here, but let's look at my death here. Let's give ourselves a little bit of context. Look at the cart. Look at what I'm doing. Just gonna let it play for a second. You guys tell me. What do you guys think? I should have died there. What should I have done, chat? What should I have done? What should I have done? What do you think? If I pin out here, I probably could have lived, maybe. Maybe that's the feedback. So pin back to your team, right? But here's the question. Is that the most important thing that's happened in 3 minutes? Because look what happened. I was in the back line, for context here, for like, you guys remember, for like a full minute. And I killed like 3 people. And then the only reason I died here is because the Cassidy was there. And even then, I still allow us to cap. I mean, we literally capped all of second point with me in their back line. So was my death a problem, or do you think it was earned? Now, is there a mistake to learn here? Yeah, I probably could have gotten out there towards the end. But is that really the priority? Is that the most important thing that I did in the last 3 minutes? That's the feedback I'm gonna get out of all the mistakes that I've done. Don't die? What? Okay, let's look at this death. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this death? I should have backed out there, you know? I should have backed out there, you know? I should have backed out there. What should I should have pinned out, right, guys? No. Hit the freaking shadow, jackass. Right? What's there to learn? Like, dying is probably... So, you could argue that dying is a consequence of another mistake. Potentially. Okay, so what do we have here? I died once because I should have pinned out. I died because I missed a shatter. Okay, let's keep going with this. Why did I die this time? Why did I die this time, guys? What do you guys think? Too deep in the enemy backline? I mean, we were down 1 at this point. Too deep in the enemy backline? What do you guys think? Overextend, but why? What do you mean overextended? We just saw me carry this one previously doing this exact same thing. So why is it overextended? I think I've overextended given the context of the fact that my Cassidy's dead. So I should have backed up and not overextended while we're down 1. I would have been a little bit more conservative, right? So I was too far forward being down 1. So let's see here. I should have pinned out. I missed my shatter and I was too far forward while we were down 1. Because we could have traded tanks if my Cassidy was there at the worst case scenario. Okay, or yeah, I did check my team's position. Okay, this is great. We're really getting value out of checking our deaths. Okay, we die again. All right, man, I suck. All right, what's the mistake this time? What's the mistake? What's the mistake? What's the mistake? Ignore the shatter, maybe. Why did I die? To be honest with you guys, I honestly felt like I just didn't keep track of my HP. I just felt like I had more HP than I actually did. And then I exploded, right? Which is a little bit unlucky, but I could have just held shield there and then lived that punch, and then we would have been fine. I just didn't play my HP. It was a little unlucky, but I didn't play my HP. Okay, but that's probably the first major time where I haven't played my HP. Let's keep going. Another death. What is the mistake with this one? Oh, this is a saucy one. All right, let's look at the context of this one. Doomfist is on backline. He's just going to use high ground. I get my trade. I make sure the Ashe doesn't walk forward. I know Cassie has high noon as well. I cannot let this backline walk forward. So, you tell me. What do you guys think? I'm not taking damage. I'm keeping this backline in this choke, and I'm not taking damage. What's the mistake? What's the mistake? What's the mistake? What's the mistake? That's the mistake. I made no mistakes. I made no mistakes here. I played my HP. I hit a couple of fire strikes. I hit a pin. I made no mistakes. Previous 4 deaths, there were mistakes. Not this one. Not this one. My team feeds punch. This guy ults. We don't use our abilities. We died AoE punch. I made no mistakes. So we have, let's see here. What would we have? I should have pinned back to my team. Hit your shatter. Play your HP with shield. I made no mistakes. So this is why reviewing your deaths is bad. Because what did we learn? What sort of feedback are you going to give yourself? It's not that you're not giving yourself any feedback. You might find something, but there's 2 dangers here. One, your feedback will be a complete grab bag of random different concepts, random different ideas that are going to be really hard to replicate. It's a broad spectrum feedback, a million different concepts without any real... Yeah, I don't even know if I consistently make this issue. Maybe it just happened once. Right? And then the second danger is exactly what Darkveil is saying, is a lot of it is don't do that, or don't take that risk, or you shouldn't have done that. It's exclusively focused on me doing things that I shouldn't do. It's a negative thing. Don't do this. Don't take risks. You'll die. Don't extend. You'll die. Don't push. You'll die. Don't try to Shadow the Doom. You'll die. It's not that it always has to be that way, but there is a definite bias if you only review deaths to seeing the things that you did do and died, not the things that you didn't do that got your team killed. If you die, it might be earned. If you die, you might focus on your execution, but it was good that you did something. You just needed to execute it better. If we instead reviewed my Moira's deaths or my Brigitte's deaths, we might actually see a lot of fights where I didn't do something and they died first. Whoever dies first doesn't make the first mistake necessarily. So you got to find out. You can't only focus on your deaths because all you're going to see is you overextending, right? Most of the time. And then also you're going to find a bunch of random crap. I've had a lot of students come to me. Yeah, I've been trying to VOD review and I've been focused on my deaths and I realized I was just dying a lot unnecessarily. Guess what happens when we get to the VOD review section? They're not taking angles. They're not doing damage. They're not taking any sort of responsibility for what they do and they're losing games. And they want to know why. So let's start from scratch. Ladies and gentlemen, do you guys want to focus on my fire strikes? Fire strikes? Okay, tell you what, we'll do fire strikes and we'll do HP management. Let's just do fire strikes and HP management. We'll do 2. I would recommend if you're gonna start only doing 1. I don't know anything, all right? I'm not gonna coach guide this one. What do you guys think of this first fire strike? We're just gonna look at the fire strike. What do you think? Lucky, exactly. It was a bad fire strike because this disruptor shot means they should back up. I have no idea what this Mercy is doing. She's looking for res. She's a jackass. So I got lucky. It was a bad fire strike. What about that fire strike? What fire strike? I hit the freaking barrel. Check this out. This one's probably more mechanical. Where should I aim this? Probably not off to the side. Probably aim it. Why do I have invisible fire strikes? Okay, I hate this. But I missed it this way. I missed it. I split the difference. Went right through the goalposts. Frick me, man. So we've got bad mechanics with our fire strikes and bad placement, just not thinking too much about them. What the frick am I fire striking right now? Imagine having fire strike right now. Right there. Bam. One right on the Moira right there. That fire strike was actually okay because I'm predicting her to strafe this way, and that does force her to move the other direction. So even though I didn't hit it, I wish you could see this. It's like the worst possible time now because they're invisible. But yeah, this is good. This is good. That's another good one right there. Predicting her movement. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, but this is why it matters. It's not just a throwaway cooldown. It matters. Even this one is really important because that almost got her. And I think even this one was pretty good too. HP management is okay. We'll ignore the positioning side of things, but that got him out. Yeah. So again, huge. Big ult charge, big pressure. Yeah. So you guys can see the difference in the impact when I'm actually really deliberately aiming and thinking about my fire strikes, like trying to read their movement, and when I'm not. So I think feedback for me, if I were to want to improve at Rhine, is that my autopilot with fire strikes isn't really that good. My mechanics aren't great, but I also just tend to just throw them at the first target I see without really deliberately aiming for it. This is how you VOD review yourself. I didn't know I had a problem with fire strikes. You don't need to be self-aware to VOD review. You just need to go in, pick something that and look at it. And that's it. All right, I'm done. 10 minutes. Let's go play a game with Ryan. I'm gonna work on my work on my fire strikes. And that's something specific. There's a misconception in the casual community that shooting tank is always the way to win. Always shoot tank. Shoot tank, shoot tank, heal tank, shoot tank, heal tank, shoot tank, heal tank. Pocket tank, counter swap, shoot tank, heal tank, shoot tank, heal tank. Because it's very visible, it's very obvious, and it gives you a lot of emotional and visceral feedback. That is wrong. You should not always be prioritizing shooting tank. I went to the opposite extreme with one of my educational pieces, which I'm not proud of, where I said you should stop shooting tank. You should go out of your way to not shoot tank. You should try to find anything other than shooting tank. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that is a definite step up from that feedback, but it's not optimal. And the more that I've coached, especially in the last couple of years, the more I've realized that it is contextual. Let me explain what I mean by that. Your priority is to position yourself on a good position for your character. An off angle, sight line, close, far, medium, whatever. Then you guys have seen my video. Target priority doesn't matter. You shoot what's available. You shoot what's convenient from that position. Oftentimes, that will be shooting tank. Yes. And if you try to shoot squishies at backline because Spilo said so, then you might put yourself in a bad position. However, if you do have a choice between a tank and something that's not a tank, usually prioritize the not tank. So we're going to take a look at Mammy here, and we're going to find out what the problem is. Should my Ana be shooting tank right now? And by shooting, I mean using cooldowns, damaging, sleeping, discording, whatever. Support, DPS, tank, it doesn't matter. Should I be fire striking tank? You know, should she be nading tank? Should we be disruptor shotting? Yes, maybe, but it's close. So right now, you see this? I'm an Ana. I have a sniper rifle. I have an anti-nade with a pretty generous splash radius. Maybe it would be more effective for me to nade backline. You're like, oh, but you can't follow up. Backline has to back off. Now, does that do more damage than the anti-nade on tank? It's tough. It's tough. I could see it both ways. But we should maybe consider nading Arissa and shooting the Zen. This is good. She misses her shot, but that is correct. One shot on Tracer is a big deal. We miss all of our shots. The Zen, as Genji doesn't get pocket, but this is good. I don't mind this attention onto the Tracer. The problem is that we didn't finish the kill with the Tracer. You see, this is the funny problem. You guys want to see the funny problem here? Who should we be shooting now? I mean, it kind of goes without saying, right? Zen, right? But the problem here is look at where my Ana's attention goes. She goes to sleep. She misses a shot. And then she looks at me. Why is this a mistake? So this isn't just about damaging here. Is your priority just pocket your tank, you'll win? Shoot the enemy tank, you'll win? No. Why am I under so much pressure? Why am I under so much pressure? You guys remember this, right? Why am I under so much pressure? Soldier, Zen. I don't need healing. I need somebody to shoot the soldier Zen. Please, I'm begging you. Shoot the soldier Zen. Please. Heck, even dealing with the tracer here would be fine. And so what ends up happening is because she fixates on me, and maybe even the Orisa there, Mercy dies because I don't know what Mercy's doing. But our attention is been and continued to be on the tank. Now, I'm not doing this to flame this support at all. This support's fine. We just looked at me and the previous myth bust. I'm doing this with a character with a scope because it's a lot easier to see. This could be any team, it could be my team, it could be anybody. This is a mistake. Why is this a mistake? What did my Ana just do? Is the Orisa the only target that she could see? Or the most overextended target that she could see? No, look at the Zen. This is a mistake. So we nade Orisa, does nothing. Another moment, right? Do not go for the Orisa here if you can avoid it. Hold the corner, shoot Tracer, but more importantly, look at these jackasses. You're not, by the way, this is why shooting tank is acceptable, because if this backline is positioned appropriately, you're not going to see the Ana Zen immediately. So you should shoot tank. But when you get the opportunity to, you should immediately pivot over. And so right here, I'm hoping that she goes for the squishies. She goes for the sleep. It's fine. She doesn't hit it. But you see, she's still looking at that Orisa. There's a tracer on you, my friend. There's an Ana Zen standing in the open. Take a second to shoot her. This is fine. But she's missing all of her shots, which is kind of tough. This tracer was able to live in our backline. I get it, but see, this is what's happening, is we've not done any pressure to this backline at all. And so there's been no pressure on this front line whatsoever. Let's go back just a little bit. All right, you tell me. Who should... Well, after this, we'll look at a different character. I mean, that's a blind nade. That's not good for obvious reasons. What's the problem here, chat? What's the problem here? What is there to shoot? Who should we be prioritizing? Well, not full HP targets, right? So if we were to peek this here, there you go. There it is. But yeah, she's full HP. She's behind a wall. And now we're looking at tank again, which, to be honest with you, I'm going to die here. I'm going to die. I got ulted. I got javelin. I'm going to die. My bad. Get something over here. But you can see constantly where our attention is going. And in fact, we'll look at our sim. We'll look at our sim. We'll go in the other DPS mode here, right? Now, you could probably guess, if you guys know the type of person to swap to Symmetra, not a Symmetra main, but someone to swap to Symmetra, you can probably guess where their attention's going to be. And then maybe we'll look at one for the enemy team too. Because I think the Ram is making similar issues. Do you see what happens when you chase targets and you don't chase positions? Now, you need to know where people are to chase a good position, but we've completely ignored the fact that there's people shooting at us currently right now, that we're walking into the middle of the open, but we go, oh, I can beam through Orisa shield and I'm gonna go kill the Orisa. Is shooting the Orisa's bad? No, if she's there. If she's close and you got cover and you're playing a good angle as Symmetra, then it's fine. But this is what happens when you focus targets and not a position. Chase's tank immediately dies. Yeah, sure. Get her out. Yeah, there you go. You can deal with anything. But you should probably go fight for the angle here with a turret or so and shoot what's here. Who would that be? Squishies. They back up. Now it's tank. You right? But what are we going to do? Let's see what we do. Uh-oh. We're taking an angle here. Now we shoot the Ana, and it works. Beautiful. Beautiful job. Now, who should my Symmetra player be shooting right now? Now, you have teleporter here, so you could be going for backline. I think that's an important asterisk here that I would prefer for you to take an angle with your turret and with your ult and go for backline here. Absolutely. But like, let's say you didn't have your turret. Yeah, you can beam tank. That's all right. And look, it works. It's good. Now tank backs up. Now where should our attention go? And see, this is where everybody screws up. What do you think the Symmetra is going to continue to do? There's somebody just as close as the Orisa right now. And somebody that's not 600 HP and inside trance. And yet, this is what we see. You see it? And that kills us right there. And that kills us. It's not even oftentimes an instinctual choice. It's just easy. So let's check out this Ramatra's target priority. When should you tank? Who should this Ramatra be shooting right now? Oh my days. Are you kidding me? Why are we shooting the Reinhardt? Look at this guy. Get him out. He's going to kill you. Holy crap. But yeah, Ramattra counters Rein. So we're going to sit here. Oh, took us too long. That Zen should have killed us right there. Now who should we shoot? Rein. Of course. Why? Because that's all I can focus. That's all I can reach. But see here. Oh, I can't go in now. I've got to break my cover. I'm going to lose my position to go for that target. Oh, Rein again. Oh, he's overextended. No, you've overextended, right? No, I misplayed that one. That one should not have even been that close. But do you see what happens when you put your target priority, which is not only wrong, but it is at the expense of your positioning? There are circumstances when you should shoot tank if that's the only thing that you can see. Absolutely. But the priority always needs to be position yourself first and then pressure what's convenient from that angle, from that position. Yeah, we all do it. We all make those same mistakes. I think I'm going to stop there.